Hi, my name is Theda. I am a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I write them down. I commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat in between no matter what. Abstinence is the most important thing I do in my life today. And I do it with the blessing of a power greater than myself, who I choose to call God. I have an opening that I always say when I sit in this seat, and that is, it is an honor and a privilege and a blessing to be sitting here today and sharing my story with you. So on that note, there are a lot of you I don't know and a lot of you I do. So I will try and mix it up today and try and stay focused on newcomers, because I think I saw a lot of people counting days and newcomers. One of the ways I'm going to start with this, because for me, it's always about grounding. It's about grounding. And weighing and measuring grounds me, but also I'm in a 12-step program, not a diet program. So I do the steps. And I just want everybody to listen to my voice. We're in step 1. So all month of January, I do step 1. I stay focused. And I'm going to read step 1, and then I'm going to tell you my story. And just relax and listen to my voice. Don't care if you agree with it. You don't have to do anything. It is from the step book. And it says, I'm just going to read the ending. It says that the answer is that few people will sincerely try to practice all AA programs unless they have hit bottom. For practicing AA's remaining 11 steps means the adoption of attitudes and actions that almost no alcoholic who is still drinking can dream of taking, who wishes to be rigorously honest and tolerant, who wants to confess his faults to another and make restitution for harm done, who cares anything about a higher power, let alone meditation and prayer, who wants to sacrifice time and energy in trying to carry AA's message to the next sufferer. No, the average alcoholic, self-centered in the extreme, doesn't care for this prospect unless he has to do these things in order to stay alive himself. Under the lash of alcoholism, we are driven to AA or Gray Sheet, and there we discover the fatal nature of our situation. Then and only then do we become as open-minded to conviction and as willing to listen as the dying can be. We stand ready to do anything which will lift the merciless obsession from us. So thank you for indulging me. And thank you for letting me tell you how I work my program. I walked into these rooms, and yes, I did OA, yes, I did how, yes, I did the whole gamut. And one of the things I always say, and it's so important to just listen. I walked in and I said, and I call it going into Greenwich House. It's my famous line. I go into Greenwich House, which is in New York City. And I said, I don't need to be the smartest person. I don't need them to like me. This is what I said outside the building before I walked in. I don't need them to do anything. Dear God, please. I don't know why people get it in a way and I didn't get it. I don't know how it works for some. I don't know. I don't care. I don't even care if I lose a pound. I want to stop eating. I want to stop eating. I don't care how they talk to me or don't talk to me. Just let me do what they say. Please, just this time, because I must be doing something wrong since OA didn't work, since all the diet pills. And I suffered with this disease my entire life, on and off. Trust me, I didn't want anything except to stop eating. I got so much more, but that's what I was clear on. And I walked into those rooms and somebody said they would take my food. And I've been doing it ever since. And it has given me a life. The thing they said in those days was, call me on time. It was 5 a.m. I'm telling you. I would have had a whole conversation about the 5 o'clock. Really? Why do we have to be 5 o'clock? What's wrong with 8 o'clock? Who gets up at 5 o'clock? I didn't have those conversations because I started with what a dying man would do. I was dying. And the other way was killing me. I either want to live or I want to die. It was that clear for me. So I said, okay. So I set also we take food and you have to go to meetings. And you have to share at every meeting, even if you just say your name. And well, it wasn't on Zoom, just, So it was fix the chairs, set up something, do anything. But those were the guidelines. And those are what we did. When you call me, just give me your food. I don't want to hear all the other stuff. Well, so-and-so, they made something for me, this person. Well, we take food. You weigh and measure your food. You give me your food. All those other things will be there. Don't worry. They'll stay there. They'll stay there while you're weighing and measuring. They're not going to go away. They're not even going to go away if you choose to eat. So I called my food in, believe it or not, at 5 a.m. and I would set an alarm. I wake up at 5, and it was so great because they didn't want to talk anyway. They just wanted my food because they had someone right behind me. So it was the beginning of learning about commitment. It was the beginning of learning how to not take advantage of someone, because if she gave me 5, that was what worked for her, and she was helping me. So look at it as, do you want the help, or do you want to be right? Or do you want to sit around and look for what? No, I'm a dying man. Step 1, I admit it. There's a problem and I can't take care of it, right? It's making my life unmanageable. There was something in the rules of what we do, the guidelines, the rules, the suggestions, whatever softness you need to tell yourself as the program has softened all these years, whatever you need. For me, I got exactly what I needed. I walked into Greenwich House. Luckily, I have like a personality people like, so it didn't really matter about all that stuff. I don't care if they like me. I don't care if they don't think I'm smart. You know what? I was the one who had all those things in my head. I was done. It came from me. It didn't come from the outside. It was, I have to let them know I have a career, and the only problem I have is eating. Yeah, really? Really? I can tell because people who don't have other problems don't have those kind of conversations, just so you know. So it was really weird. But what I want to say, and I'm going to just dial it back a little bit. If you're just walking into this room and you're thinking, I don't really connect, it's okay. It's okay. Just don't leave. That's the secret. The secret is you don't leave. I can tell you what I've been doing all these years, but it doesn't matter. That didn't matter to me. When I came in, it was about, how am I going to work this program? And it was, I go to the big book. And I think this may offend somebody, I don't mean to, but it is my Bible. I probably know more about what's in the big book than I can tell you where the books of the Bible fall, whether they're in the New Testament or also. But I guess you asked me on page 449 what it says, and I can recite it to you. And one of the things that I always remember that the big book says is my abstinence is contingent on a relationship with a power greater than myself. It isn't because you're eating or because I sat in a meeting and somebody only had a day and they were sharing. It isn't because the sponsor picked up. I remember in OA when my sponsor started eating, it was like, oh, free fall. No, that was me doing that. That wasn't her fault. She was doing the best she could. The best I can is to
5 minutes, Theda.
Thank you, is to stay focused. So I always say, if this isn't what you need to hear, if you stay here, you will eventually hear your story. It will come. For me, I want and wanted this more than anything else in the world. I could not continue in the same vein. And when they said things weren't on the gray sheet where I didn't bother. I did not bother to negotiate. There was no negotiation because it's an addiction for me, not a diet for me. It's not on there, there's not on there. Me and my sponsor laugh. She's been around a long time too. It's like, whatever, you know. I love to have a great meal, but guess what? There's another meal coming. I do the tools. I still today make those outreach phone calls. I still today read the literature. I still today, of course, weigh and measure my food, but I also call my sponsor on time. I very seldom give her any of my stories. That's a different call. I give her the food and I let it go. I do service. Even the smallest amount of service, I make sure I reach out to any newcomer. I support people where I can. I keep my primary purpose, and that is to stay abstinent and help another compulsive overeater. I do that. I do that like if I was walking into Greenwich House for the first time. I remember every day, and I talk about this also whenever I lead a meeting, I am one thought away. The last thing to go is the food. It isn't the first thing. When you picked up, yeah, I already would have not been going to meetings. I would have not been doing the service. I would have not been doing the tools. And it would have been, and as the big book says, it starts in that mind. It starts here. The food is the last to go. Right? So I can sit here and I can do all the things we do now on Zoom and tell you, here's my abstinent date. And it's wonderful. It may help you. But the true help comes from weighing and measuring your food, doing those tools, and staying here, even when you think you want to leave. It isn't about who is leading the meeting. So-and-so is going to lead on this day. Those are fun things. But trust me, when I tell you how I stay abstinent, I do what the big book says. It says it isn't about what the speaker or the person says. It's about, what did you bring? What did you do? Are you talking? So I try and make sure that I tell you my story. And it doesn't mean if someone does it differently, it's wrong. It just means that for me, I stay focused on remembering I have a disease that will tell me I don't have a disease. I have a disease that will alienate me from you. I have a disease that when people around say, oh, it's religion. No, it isn't. There's nothing in there that's religious at all, except in your mind because you don't want to do what it says. It is really just universal. If you want to take it that way, you take it that way. I don't set up problems to come in between me and my food. There's so many other things in the world that I can set it up. I don't get into outside issues. I don't. Unimportant to me. Only thing for me is weighing, measuring my food, showing up to these meetings and giving you all the love I have, because that's my primary purpose. And that's all I do. It isn't deep. It's not heavy. It's not judgmental. I say what I'm going to say. Sometimes it sounds a little abrupt or a little aggressive. Some people who know me know that. And then they'll talk to me 2 seconds later.
1 minute, Theda.
So I will wrap up and say again, if you're new, don't leave. Somebody will say something you want to hear. if you're all feel like you already know, it's Theda. But you know one thing, I am honored. And it's just such an honor to be with you and to know all of you in different ways and know that this, to me, somebody said we're just plain lucky, but it's also a gift. It's a gift, and it's a gift I want to keep giving to you, which is my heart to you, weighed and measured, spiritually with all the love I can master, 3 times a day. Okay, 3 times a day, nothing in between, but black coffee, tea, or diet soda. And I know this is important to everybody now on Zoom. So I will just finish and remind you, remember, I only have the same amount of time as you, but I walked into these rooms 23 and a half years. On May, I'll be celebrating 24 years, but we know it doesn't matter. Thank you.